gentlemen, please welcome your host, 2020 NADA Show Chairman from Oxford, Mississippi, Michael Joe Cannon.
All right, welcome. How y'all doing today? All right, let's give Patrick and them another round of applause, please. Great job, guys. Hey, this is our final day of the NADA 20 show, and I hope y'all have had fun. I'm sorry I didn't hear you. It's fun. Come on now. Hey, we got a great day planned for you. GM CEO Mary Barra is here today, and we're proud to have her on our NADA stage. And I sure hope you've enjoyed the expo floor, because we've had the best exhibitors in the industry here. Let's take a moment and recognize the NADA Best Exhibitor booths for 2020. The winner in the 100 to 400 square foot is Isabel, USA. The Best Small Island booth goes to Sokol. The Best Large Island booth goes to Car Global. The Best Medium Island booth goes to Assurant Resource Auto. Let's give a round of applause for all the people who made our Expo 4 shine and the 2020 booth winners. Hey, it's not often that we get together for Valentine's Day in a city as exciting as Las Vegas. And I hope you've connected with old friends, made some new ones, and used every resource here to get you ready for 2020. Most of all, I hope you're hydrated, because I know you're going to catch a flight out of here in a few hours. But before you pack up and head out, let's take a look back at our time in Las Vegas.
Let's open this expo floor.
There's so much happening in the automotive space, and there's so many new technologies coming out that finding the right partners is really what's going to drive your product forward and help you provide an amazing customer experience all the way through.
The people that are here are smart people. They're focused on their business, and they're focused on finding things that are really going to make a difference in their business.
The expo hall is amazing, because then we can see, oh, this company can help in this way, that company can help in that way. And for us, it's been like super efficient.
There's opportunities, there's classes, there's innovative ideas. There's always something to make you better.
I'm getting a lot of ideas for the dealership and what we're going to do actually next. There's a couple of vendors that I signed up for. Got a couple of products, so that's the reason why I'm here.
This is where you're going to see the trends, what's hot, what's new, where's everything going. And that's where you get out and you try to grow your company, because you can't stay status quo. If your competition's not out here, you're going to take advantage of them, because you're going to learn things they need to know.
How y'all doing? Y'all ready to get this thing started?
The 2020 Time Dealer of the Year is Susan Moffett.
I've gotten to know a few of these dealers, and I feel that we all deserve this award together. I don't know what else to say other than thank you all. Congratulations on everyone's nomination.
Our imprint on America is unmistakable. Our contributions are undeniable, and our potential is immeasurable. We are the Auto Dealers of America. We are NADA.
Wow. No one celebrates like NADA. Come on now. We want to acknowledge everyone who made sure that you had fun over the past few days. Let's cap off this celebration by introducing the 2020 NADA chairman. Today, Charlie Gilchrist turns the keys over to Rhett Reichart, our 2020 NADA chairman from Columbus, Ohio. Let's see what's in store for our auto industry in 2020 and beyond. So let's take a look and get to know Rhett a little bit better.
The secret to a big company is to always make it feel like a small company. If you want to be successful in business, you have to keep employees happy and you have to keep your customers happy. My father first started his Ford dealership with a $12,000 loan. We've now grown to where we have Ford, we have Nissan, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Hyundai, and Kia, Genesis, a finance company. But most important is we have about 600 people here that work with us in our company.
Yeah, so we typically contact people under 15 minutes.
I have 8 family members in our business now between the age of 30 and 40, and they are an important part of all of our different divisions. So our family has been in the medium and heavy-duty truck repair business for years. So we have a 126,000 square foot facility. We have 60 bays. When you wake up in the morning and you look in your driveway, you should be happy about what's out there to take you to work in the morning.
What's really great about Red, he knows what's around the corner, but he doesn't go there by himself. He brings people with him.
I think giving back to the community comes naturally for most automobile dealers. We regularly meet with each one of the family members that are in the business, and we discuss causes that really affect them. If the family member thinks it's that important, then we will write that check. We want to make sure that family member uses their energy and their time and their focus and their intellect to help build that cause and make it better for the future.
Red is going to make a great chairman for NADA because of his passion for the industry and the families that make their living in the industry.
I have 3 children. I have the older son, Jared, and then I have a middle son, Raleigh, and my daughter, Katie, and my wife, Nicole. I couldn't find a better person to spend the rest of my life with. I have a multitude of different interests. I love music, I love guitar, I love banjo and mandolin and anything with a string on it. I really enjoy it. Well, Dave Yost, the current Attorney General for the state of Ohio, is a good friend of mine, and we became friends because we had a common interest in music.
You know, if I had to pick somebody to lead an organization that I cared about, he would be on the short list.
I know that there's dealers across the country today that have relationships with legislators or public officials, and by having that initial relationship with them is so vital and important, not only to your state association, but to the NADA.
Somebody gets elected, they make policy decisions that impact small business people every day. And that's why I think Rhett will be so good as a chairman, because he understands the impact of policy on small businesses, and I think he'll be very effective at stating the case for national auto dealers.
The NADA has a tall task, and we will accomplish it, to be able to provide the services and the education to dealers to make sure their business can improve at the rate of change throughout the industry. Our success was based upon unselfishness and the ability to always be innovative and creative. So hopefully I can bring that to the NADA. Always looking for new and innovative ways to improve our relationships with our dealers, improve our relationships with our manufacturers, and in addition, find a long-term sustainable model for all of us that we can move into for the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome 2020 NADA Chairman, Rhett Reichert. Thank you, brother. All right. Now we can't mess this up like we did last year. So Rhett, you are a dedicated, passionate, smart, bold,
wow.
And your energy is boundless. And you're exactly what this industry needs today. I know you'll hit the ground running. Congratulations. Have a great year.
Thanks, Charlie. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Well, come here, Charlie. Come here.
I get to stand up here with you?
I'm telling you. Okay. I want to let you know, I echo the sentiments of everyone in this room and every dealer in the country and every director, because you worked your tail off last year, and we've had a great progress with the NADA. It's a stronger, more cohesive organization, and we thank you for that, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so very much.
Couldn't have done without you.
All right. Thank you.
Let's give Charlie a round of applause. Well, as I take these keys to the NADA, we're going to gun the accelerator and power into 2020. But before we go any further, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize the NADA directors who've entrusted me to lead this organization into what will be a great decade. The NADA directors, please stand. In case you're wondering, this is a non-paying job. Very appropriate. Change. There's tons of books out there on change, but ladies and gentlemen, change is our ally. Change is opportunity. But most of all, change is inevitable. Over 250 years ago, Ben Franklin famously observed, "If you think you're finished changing, you're finished." 2019 was full of change. There wasn't a day that our industry wasn't in the headlines. Dealers were constantly evolving. We were pushed to think more creatively as we tackled that Rubik's Cube every day that was ultimately ours to solve at our dealerships. Just look at some of these recent headlines. If you read these headlines, you think our industry is all about corruption, obstruction, and disruption. Let's talk about corruption first of all. The UAW bribery scandal, the Volkswagen Dieselgate emissions, and the Carlos Ghosn arrest, as well as others. All of these stain the public's image of our great industry that you and I and our forefathers have helped create. And what about obstruction? Like the CFPB overreach, regulations like broad recall bills, a wrongful MLA interpretation, impractical facility requirements, and unfair OEM stair-step programs. These issues complicate our business. They add to the price of a car, and most importantly, prevent our customers from getting the car they want. They tell us that every day. After all the negative headlines, you're wondering, what the hell is going on? But let's back up for a moment and talk about this word disruption. We know who they are. First of all, why do we call it a disruption? Disruption is an effective disturbance. It interrupts a process, takes you out of your comfort zone. The new players in the game aren't disruptors. They're just N-E-W, new. The beauty of our business is that we thrive on disruption. When you think about it, dealers have been making a living by confronting, understanding, and ultimately harnessing the disruption. Auto dealers wrote the major blueprint for this industry. For over 100 years, we have been the disruption into dollars, and we have shaped how Americans drive, how they travel, and how they live their daily lives. And in 2020, we're going to keep doing it. We will meet disruption at the door. And no matter what the name is, we'll answer. Remember, there were over 3,000 automobile manufacturers in this country since 1900, and now only 40 remain. What survived all those years? You, me, the local auto dealer. The local auto dealer, working from the dealership model, is the only constant. And in this decade, we'll bring our customers the option to step into electric vehicle, gas-powered vehicle, in the future, maybe even a driverless car. Here are some other headlines we woke up to last year. Those headlines are just the tip of the very deep iceberg. But what does it show? It shows dealers are constantly reinventing themselves and constantly defying the odds. Sure, there are complications out there. We know what they are. But the NADA is doing something about them every day. We always have, and we always will. My plan is to take advantage of our focused, leaner and meaner, and now more powerful NADA. We hyper-focused our missions, increased our advocacy, deeper dealer education, addressing the MLA, targeting data management, increasing OEM communication. But I know what the number one thing is: improving dealer profitability. That's just a few. We efficiently and more aggressively are directing 100% of all of our resources and energy and focus towards your sustainable business. And as I said, we're gunning our accelerator into this modern world with an eye on advocacy, education, and compassion. The NADA took Washington by storm last year, and I promise you, we're going to take it even harder next year. We're also there to give you support where you need it most. Not only do we have a great workforce initiative, we have a new initiative: Women Driving Auto Retail. Our goal is to successfully engage and fully empower women across our industry, whether it's increasing female employment at dealerships or supporting women in leadership roles. Come on. We must reflect our customers and our community. And as we move forward into 2020, we will be the first line of defense for your business. The NADA's single greatest opportunity for future growth is protecting our customer data. Hey, it's a digital age. We know that. We know that. Dealers have always worked to protect our customers' data. But how do you protect that data? Everyone has safeguards in place.
But new rules proposed by the FTC take government overreach to a whole new level, and it's not practical. The compliance costs alone would be enormous. If the FTC gets its way, dealerships may be slapped with a one-time upfront cost of almost $300,000 with additional annual costs every year. When you get back to your dealerships, talk to your vendors, review your security measures. The NADA will stay on top of this issue with you as far as it goes into the future. In 2020 and beyond, we are fighting against the one-size-fits-all approach, whether it's overly broad recall bills, bad safeguard rules, skewed MLA, unfeasible facility requirements, or OEM stair-step programs. There are many amazing manufacturers here at the NADA. But let me say, harmful incentive programs don't serve our customers' needs and wants. They destroy brand loyalty, and they destroy the trust that customers have in us. Manufacturers, please, please, listen to our customers. Ultimately, we must keep cars affordable. Remember, people can't buy cars if the price doesn't fit their budget. If the auto industry slows down, I'm telling you, this country slows down. That's why the NADA fought off broad-based tariffs so boldly. That's why we fought off federal regulations that drive up sticker prices. The NADA is here to build and protect your business, like my own 67-year-old family business in Columbus, Ohio. This is why, since 1917, the NADA was and still is the gold standard of industry trade associations. So this year, don't look to the headlines alone. If you're going to report on this industry, stop by your local dealership. Our success could be seen in the millions of people who buy cars from us every month, including voluntary protection products that dealers offer to protect a customer's investment. I see our success in our PAC service departments, where we're working to staff with the best techs and where customers come for warranty and recall and maintenance work. Never forget and always remember, we, the dealers, are the customer's only safety net. Because if you think it's going to be easy fixing an all-electric or autonomous car in the future without a tried and true service department network to back you up, you're in a dream world. The franchise system remains the most efficient and sustainable retail distribution network in America, if not the world. And we have the ability to evaluate the real impact. Not Wall Street, not Silicon Valley, and I can tell you we're not slowing down. I can personally promise you NADA will remain consistent, persistent, and sometimes damn insistent on our message. The disruption will come and go. The constant is you and me, the dealers. We work with customers eye to eye. We're the ones shaking their hands. We're the ones who build relationships every day. We master our markets, advance our technology, and always, all of us, improve our communities. We always have, we always will. But I'm sure as we enter this new year, let's talk very quickly about politics. Yeah, I know there's a big election coming up in November, but don't be obsessed with the political party that's controlling Congress. Don't be obsessed with what president's in office. The NADA will continue to relentlessly advocate for your best interests, whether D.C. is painted blue or red. And finally, people ask me, hey, Rhett, you're in the car business. What's all this corruption, obstruction, and disruption? What's going on? And I say, it's a little bit like when I was a kid. You ever skinned your knee or you bumped your head? What was the first thing your parents told you after they put a Band-Aid on you? Well, in my case, because my daddy, he just rubbed some dirt on it and then kicked me in the rear end and sent me out in the backyard. That was a different time. My message for everyone here today, for all the new car dealers across this country, is the same thing your parents told you. You'll be just fine. Actually, we're going to be more than just fine. There's something to be said of auto dealers that went through wars, recessions, depressions, oil embargoes, global economic meltdowns, even OEM bankruptcies, and we're still standing here, everybody, tall and upright and stronger than ever. Because today, almost every new car dealership in America is a member of NADA. That's unheard of for any national associations. Our grassroots is the core of our political engagement. So remember, individually we can run fast, but collectively we have and will continue to run far. We are the benchmark for success. Remember, the NADA's goal is to make your business more valuable every new day. Ride-hailing, electrification, autonomous vehicles, those rest within our ecosystem. We're not in theirs. They knocked on our door, and we're happy to let them in under our customers' terms. So whether it's corruption, obstruction, or disruption, they provide opportunities. Why? Because the power of NADA is in the last 5 letters of opportunity. UNITY, unity. There's never been anything like us before, and there never will be. The NADA, we are galvanized, and we're a bulletproof band of brothers and sisters. There are dealers here from every corner of the country. Under the NADA, we all live in the same house. We just have different addresses. So I ask you today, stay involved, remain strong, and be damn proud. We are the NADA. God bless America, and God bless the NADA. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce to you our team this coming year, the 2020 Executive Committee of the NADA.
Vice Chairman Paul Walzer. Secretary Bill Willis. Treasurer Bob Schumann.
Go Buckeyes.
Oh, I can't say that.
Immediate past Chairman Charlie Gilchrist.
Immediate.
Chairman of the American Truck Dealers Steve Bassett. Vice Chairman Region 1 Scott Doobie. Vice Chairman Region 2 Danny Renshaw. Vice Chairman Region 3 Desmond Roberts. Vice Chairman Region 4 Kirk Schneider. Dealership Operations Committee Chairman Annette DiLorenzo Thayer. Industry Relations Committee Chairman Jeffrey Pohanka. Legislative Affairs Committee Chairman Dennis Gaudette. NADA Show Committee Chairman Tom Holcomb. Public Affairs Committee Chairman Jeff Weber. Regulatory Affairs Committee Chairman, Michael Alford. And NADA President and CEO, Peter Welch.
Well, give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Ladies
we'll talk
and
soon.
gentlemen, your 2020 Executive Committee.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. All right, buddy. There you go. Yeah, all right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Wow. Thank you, Rhett. And you guys and gals can see why we're pumped at NADA to have a guy like Rhett Reichardt leading us and have his hands on the wheel. And Rhett, we got you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're honored today to have with us GM CEO Mary Barra. Her father was a legend at a Pontiac plant for almost 40 years. Her first car was a Chevy. And her first job at GM came at the age of 18, where she participated in a program to help pay her college tuition. She's in charge of a company that's been in the headlines for the past year. She's also been center stage at many auto industry and press events. She's led GM through challenging times and has come out stronger on the other side. Let's take a look at the woman behind the headlines.
Mary Barra is a Fortune 500 CEO who continues to impress everyone with her determination and success. She has a vision for General Motors and is leading the charge. Barra has spent her entire career at GM, starting as an intern in 1980, inspecting vehicles on the factory floor. Over the years, Barra and her teams have been responsible for the design, engineering, and quality of GM vehicle launches worldwide. She made history in 2014 when she became the company's first female CEO and the first woman to lead a major U.S. automaker. Barra has been driving GM forward ever since. She's focused on strengthening the core business of cars, trucks, and crossovers, and leading the transformation of personal mobility through advanced technologies. Barra says her definition of innovative is providing value to the customer. She's established a strategic direction based on putting the customer at the center of everything the company does. Consistently recognized as one of the most powerful women in business, her future plans include rolling out 20 new electric vehicle models by 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mary Barra.
Well, thank you for that kind introduction, and I have to say I'm humbled by the video, and because it's really a team of people at General Motors that makes it happen every day, and I'm really proud to be able to lead the company in one of the most exciting times, I think, in our industry. I'd also like to thank Peter Welch for inviting me here today to speak to all of you. This is my first time attending NADA, and I have just started to understand the energy and the importance of it. So, Peter, thank you for inviting me. I also want to thank NADA. I think NADA does a great job of being an advocate and really representing all dealers in the United States and beyond well. So again, thanks to all the work that you do. As I said, as I came here today and I've had an opportunity to interface with many of you, there is a lot of energy in the room and a lot of excitement for what's ahead. And I think that that is completely aligned with the way we look at things at General Motors. I've been in this role now for 6 years, And when I first took this role, I said, I think we'll see more change in the next 5 years than we've seen in the last 50. Well, now as I've completed 6, all I see is that change accelerating. And I can tell you at General Motors, there never seems to be a quiet day. We've been hard at work, one, creating a vision for where we see this industry going, because we are seeing technology transform almost everything that we see, and we see the customer changing. And so we've created a vision to create a world with 0 crashes, 0 emissions, and 0 congestion, and also to focus on everything we do by putting the customer at the center. It's very important as we work on putting the customer at the center that we partner with our dealers because it is so important. You're the person who has the relationship with that customer every day. And we know customers are also increasing their expectations of what brands mean and what service mean. So as we partner together, I know we can navigate the landscape in front of us and come out in a leadership position. Now, we also look very carefully at all of the feedback, at least for those of you who are GM dealers, and I know there's some non-GM dealers in the room. If you'd like to rectify that, I'm sure we have a team of people that you can talk to. We at General Motors take the feedback that we get from the NADA surveys very, very seriously, and that really informs the decision we make and the path forward that we're creating as we work in this transformed industry. But I know this is the closing session, and very shortly I'm going to get the opportunity to have a conversation with Charlie. So before we sit down and do that, I would like to show you just a short video that captures the excitement going on at General Motors. So if you think about it, what we have coming just this year, the Corvette, the full-size trucks we launched last year, the full-size utilities, the Suburban, the Yukon, the Escalade coming out this year, and technologies like the Multi-Pro tailgate and Super Cruise. I can tell you in my 40 years with the company, on top of the 39 years my dad worked, this is an incredibly exciting time to be in this industry, and I think the best is yet to come. So now I'd like to invite Charlie up so we can have a conversation about the industry.
Well, I just want to say it's truly an honor for you to be here with us today. And you got 2,000 or 3,000 of your closest friends out here, so we'll have a little discussion. But, you know, you've been with GM 40 years. So you've been through the highs, you've been through the lows. So how is GM different today than the past? What's changed?
Well, a lot has changed. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is I really feel that we have the best product portfolio that we've had in General Motors history. I mean, I just covered, and you saw in the video, a couple of the products, but I'm so excited about the product portfolio we have and the team of people that's behind it, delivering them along with all of the services. I think another thing that's different at General Motors, and this is something we've been working hard on for over a decade, it's about living our values. And so our values center around the customer, around excellence, and around relationships. And that's why, you know, one of the reasons I'm so happy to be here today, because the dealers that work with General Motors, they're our partners, and I believe they are truly a strategic asset. And so I think through General Motors, we've been working to live our values, to create a vision for the future, put the best cars, trucks, crossovers, and services on the road, and do it in partnership with the many people that are our stakeholders, and together we're successful.
So how do you see 2020? For the dealers and for GM, how's 2020 going to
So 2020 is a really interesting year. You know, we're now in the 9th year of an expansion, and from an economy perspective in the United States, you know, every year there's some who want to predict that it's going to be a little bit lower year, but we think this year is possibly a little bit lower, but is going to be a very strong year. So in that 17 range, you know, we're working very hard, and I'm sure all the OEs represented here are working hard to make sure that we can not have an impact from the terrible tragedy that's going on in China right now with the coronavirus. And I'm sure all OEs in the supply base, as well as we're working first to do the right thing for our people, our team members, but also then to make sure that it doesn't have an impact that's far-reaching. So, you know, if that stays steady, I think in the United States specifically, and in North America, we can have a very strong year, and a good year in the industry is good for the dealers as well.
So we had our MAKE meeting this morning, and there was discussion about dealer profitability. So as the CEO of an OEM, of General Motors, how do you see dealer profitability? How do you measure success for the dealer?
Well, you know, I think you have to step back and realize, you know, and many of you I got to meet today have been in the business for many, many generations, and I think that is so exciting. We have to win together. And if we need to win together, that means we both have to be profitable. Just like you need General Motors to be profitable so we can reinvest in new products and features and services, you need to be profitable so you can continue to reinvest in the business. So we see it as a very important topic. We know that we're working to improve dealer profitability. We've been making steady improvements from 1.6% to 1.7% on our way to 2% and then beyond. And so we want to work together. The technology is changing a lot of how our business is run, changing your business as well. How can we use technology? And I'm sure you saw a lot in the different showcase and events that you had to take our costs down so we can be faster, more nimble, and give customers an even better experience. But I want you to know, and the whole GM team, it's something that we are focused on and we see as vitally important for both of our long-term success.
So how do you see the role for small dealers? At NADA, 34% of our dealers sell under 300 cars or less. So what's GM's, how do you see the small rural dealers? How do they survive? What is their role?
Well, at General Motors, they play a very, very important role because we're exceptionally strong in suburban and rural areas, and it's because of you. And so I think you're all aware, Brian Sweeney, who used to run our Chevrolet network, is sales and marketing, is now focused on making sure we get ahead of and are in front of how the business will transform to respond to changing customer preferences to make sure we're ready, and there'll be specific solutions for our dealers that are in rural and suburban areas as well.
So as I've traveled around, the first question everybody asks is, what's my future? And so I'm going to ask you, what's my future? But also with electrification, you hear about we're going to sell all these electric cars. There's not going to be service business. So how's that going to impact us?
Well, first of all, I think we will transform. General Motors, we believe in climate change. But I think electric vehicles are a huge opportunity. And yes, the business will change, but also think and set aside how the vehicle is propelled. Just think of the complexities. I mean, on every vehicle, at least I can speak to every General Motors vehicle, there are hundreds of millions of lines of code. And the things that a vehicle can do today versus what they could do 5 years ago, 10 years, it continues to grow. And so how our dealers participate in that and how the vehicle can get better as it goes forward, I think are opportunities. So when I talk about what does everyone's future look like, we've got to lead the transformation. We can't cling to the past. We can't just say, well, I want it to be the way it was in 1970 or 1980. We have to lead and be the best using technology and delighting our customers, and that's the way we'll stay in business. And I think there's going to be plenty of things from a strong partnership that are going to ensure our dealers are successful and the company is successful.
So I want to talk about you now. Enough about business. So you're 18 years old and you go to work for General Motors. You've worked there 40 years. So when you were 18 or 19 or 20, did you ever think, man, if I ran this company, I would change this?
Never.
Never?
Never. Never. I mean, no. I mean, you know, I've had a fabulous career at General Motors, given a lot of opportunities to work in many different areas, learned the business by working on the assembly line as my very first job, worked in stamping, worked in engine plants, and then worked out across many areas of the business. So I've been very fortunate, but really had no idea that I would have the opportunity to be in this role until shortly before I was named.
So how do you think that has changed you to make you able and ready to run GM? Because you spent all that time, and your father actually worked there. Was it at the same plant?
So that is something I'm really proud of. My dad was a die maker at General Motors. He worked there for 39 years, and he worked at Pontiac Motor Division at the time in one of our stamping plants. And I started at Pontiac Motor Division when it was a division, now part of the whole company. But I started in the assembly plant, and he retired 6 months before I started. But I first worked in one of our assembly plants, and then I did have an opportunity to work in the plant he worked in about 6-8 months after he retired.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So is he proud of you?
He was. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he was exceptionally proud. And my dad, he should have been an engineer. My brother and I were the first in our family to have the opportunity to go to college, but he was a phenomenal teacher, loved his job, very technical, and I learned a lot from him.
So as you worked your way through college, was it your goal just to stay with GM, or did you want to do something else?
You know, I think when I mentioned my brother and I, we were the first generation to go to college, so my first goal was to, as my mom had instilled upon us, we were going to get a college degree. And so, kind of that was my goal. But I have to tell you, once I started working at General Motors, my first full-time job was working in the Fiero assembly plant. And I think at that point I was hooked. And, it's exciting. We get to work in an industry where people come into, your dealerships, and we get to design and manufacture vehicles that is either the most important or the second most important purchase in their life. And I get letters from from customers who name their vehicles, and they introduce, and they're part of the family. And, so I just think this is an incredibly exciting business, and we get to participate in a very important part of people's lives.
And you told me backstage that you read every one of these letters.
I do. I get a lot of letters, and I'm excited. So for all of the dealers out there, I can tell you I get more letters from people who are so delighted with their service that they tell me about the experience they have. And when I get one of those from your dealership, I make sure you know about it as well. I also get letters from customers who are sharing with us that the vehicle saved their lives. Just recently, we had a customer who, from his hospital bed, sent us an email thanking us for the way the vehicle was designed, that they survived what many thought would be a crash that would not leave them so fortunate. And then I do get letters from people who are upset about something or concerned about something, and we answer all of them.
Can you answer some of my letters, please? I mean, my customers that are unhappy, would you just answer them so I don't have to answer them, please?
Well, I think it's a partnership.
Oh, it's
I think we both got to do it.
Okay. So, what was the day like when you found out you're going to be the CEO of General Motors?
It was kind of a whirlwind because I was told I was selected to be the CEO, and I barely got a text off to my husband. And then I went into a meeting with our whole board, and we met for, I don't know, it could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 5 hours. It seemed long and my head was spinning, but it was probably about an hour meeting talking about, where we wanted to take the company next. So it was pretty exciting.
Well, and if y'all haven't been to the RenCen, I will tell you, I've been there now 3 or 4 years in a row, and I get lost every time. So once you found that, did you have a hard time finding your office? Your new office?
No, I kind of knew where it was.
You knew where it was?
I knew where it was.
So what's the first thing you did when you went to your office and you're now the CEO? What do you think? I've got to do something. What do you do?
I think it was focused on the team. I mean, there were so many people to thank and recognize.
But at that time, you had all those recalls.
Well, I thought you were talking about day one. 30 days later, we were dealing with that. But then, that, I think, is the strength of General Motors. We got together as a team. We decided we were going to be guided by 3 principles. We were going to put the customer at the center, and we were going to do what's right for the customer. We were going to be transparent, and we were going to do everything possible to make sure it never happened again. And that's what guided every decision as we worked through the ignition switch recall. And again, there was a team of people that were working, doing what we needed to do daily there, but there was also many, many people focused on continuing to develop vehicles, manufacture vehicles, sell vehicles, and partner. And I have to give a shout out. It's been a while, but 6 years I still remember distinctly. Our dealers were such an important part of working through that challenging situation because you were there supporting us as we gave cars, provided courtesy transportation, as we set up assembly lines within dealerships to do repairs. And you lived through all of it with us and still were very positive, and General Motors was able to maintain share and leadership as we went through that difficult period. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
So, what's been the best day of your life at GM? What happened that made it the best day?
Well, in 40 years, I think I've had more than one best day. I've probably had several. But, you know, I'll tell a recent best day since I've been in this role was in the fall of 2014 when we got our top 300 leaders together to decide how did we align and strengthen the company and move forward as one team. And even though it was 300 people in the room, we had a dialogue about what we all needed to change and what we all agreed how we wanted to behave. Because if you remember at that point in time, there was a lot of people saying, how are you going to change the culture? And I'm a big believer, you can't work on culture, but you can work on how you behave every day, and that's what ultimately sets what your culture is. So we agreed how we wanted to work together, how we wanted to behave, how we wanted to focus on the customer. We left that room that day in alignment, and I think it has really been core to the success and the strength of General Motors that it is today.
So what one person has influenced your life the most?
Oh, clearly my parents.
And what did they...
So my parents, my mom grew up on a small farm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My dad grew up in the very northern part of Minnesota, so I had an iron ore miner and a coal miner for grandfathers. And so, like I said, my parents worked hard. They believed in the American dream. They told my brother and I we could do or be anything. They also taught us you work before you play. And, you know, so they taught us this, that you can be anything, but it's through hard work. And that has served me well through my entire career.
Well, when you, there's got to be one leader, though, that has influenced you.
You know, I've had so many leaders. I've had, you know, that's one of the things I think is the best at General Motors. There are so many great people there who are willing to invest in people as they're earlier in their career. And I always say I can't name one person because I would leave too many people out, because there's been people who invested in me and pulled me aside when I needed to improve and gave me some constructive feedback or encouraged me or gave me stretch assignments. So there's probably dozens and dozens of people I'm just grateful that they cared enough to invest in my career.
So what's your greatest leadership skill?
My greatest leadership skill? Picking a great team. I think at General Motors we have a great team. But I also, you know, I believe in constructive tension and that we want to hear everyone's view. We want to get the best ideas out on the table. Sometimes we're going to argue, and again, as long as we do that in a respectful way, I think we get to the best decision. I'm really proud of the GM leadership team. You know, we have people from different industries, with different backgrounds, from different countries, and I think that's one of the things that's very important, to recognize that diversity, value it, and to make the company stronger.
We heard yesterday from the former Prime Minister David Cameron from England. He said one of the most difficult things in leadership for him was time to think. He says you have to take time to think. So you are running this worldwide, huge corporation. How do you have time to think? And how do you make time to think?
Well, I think your point is right. You do have to make time to think. And, you know, after you've had a busy day and it's 10:30, 11 o'clock is probably not when your best thinking is going to occur. So, you know, I serve on the board of Disney, and when I'm at the Disney board meeting, that gives me an external perspective to think about, what are the lessons they're learning or that we can transfer to General Motors, and just getting a chance to step back. Often I find when I'm on, taking a vacation or even on the weekend, I try to not be consumed with email on Saturday, and that gives you just enough break that you can bring energy back to it. So, but I think very true is you can the urgency of today's issues can consume all your time to the point where you never get to the 1 year, the 5 year, the 10-year vision, and you have to, especially as the leadership of the company. But that's something we do together.
So, serving on the board for Disney, what have you learned?
Well, it's interesting, as I mentioned earlier, every industry is being changed by technology. And if you think you can name an industry, or someone tells you, no, I'm from an industry that's not, they're probably not going to be there that long. And so even though Disney's a completely different business than General Motors, there's so many commonalities of the way technology is allowing us to transform our business. Obviously, the customer is critical in both of our businesses. So, there's been a lot of parallels, and of course, getting to spend time with Bob Iger, who I think is an outstanding CEO, and great accomplishments over his long career at Disney. That's where I learn a lot as well.
So do you ever get time to go to the park and just go play?
Before I was on the Disney board, I think we probably took our children to Disney at least 15, 20 times. And so
my family, they don't want to go. I like to find somebody that take me to Disneyland. So
you've never been to Disney?
No, I have, but my family doesn't want to go. They don't like to ride the rides and stuff.
But there's so much to do. I mean, trust me, you can go and never ride a ride and have a full day.
No, I want to go ride the ride. So, so one of the one question, just a simple question, but it's really hard for our industry. But you are one of the most powerful, influential women in the world, first CEO of an OEM, and we struggle. We need a world-class, diverse workforce. So tell us, how do we get more women involved in the automotive industry?
Well, I think it's true in almost every industry, creating an environment they want to be in. And it's for customers as well. I mean, if you create a welcoming environment, you show, what does everyone want with a career? They want to do work that's meaningful. They want to be valued for what they do. They want to, believe that it's fair and they have opportunities. So if you create that environment, I think that can happen. I have a good family friend whose daughter is working for a dealership after she graduated in college, and she loves it. Every now and then, it's so cool. Her mom will send me pictures. Just last month, she was Employee of the Month, and for the number of vehicles that she sold. And so I think creating an environment, and we all have moms or sisters or daughters. If you create an environment where you'd want your mom, your sister, your daughter to be at, you're going to attract the people that you want. And it's beyond just gender. I think you do want diversity of thought. And so but you have to create an environment, because you can hire people, you can hire diverse talent, but if you don't create an environment, they're not going to stay. So you have to make sure it's not only attract, but it's retain.
So what advice, other than creating the environment, can you give us? Because it's more than that. We really need, they need to aspire to be like you. And we need to create that somehow. It's more than environment, because I think most of us will do flexible schedules, but we need people wanting to be part of our industry. One of the things that's most frustrating to me is I think the automobile industry is the most fascinating. There's never a dull moment, but we don't seem to be growing people. We are an aging workforce, and we need to grow younger, more diverse people. So how do we do that, especially at the dealership level?
Well, I think, I do think it's telling your story, and I think that's something NADA can help with, because, when you think about working at a dealership, it's entrepreneurial. People want to go to startups. Well, you can work with the entrepreneurial spirit in a dealership. There's training, there's advancement opportunities. So I think part of it is telling the story, because it is a great career. Being able to sell people something, building those relationships, because we all know a lot of times when a person wants to get their next car, they're calling a person at the dealership. and saying, hey, it's time for my next car, what do you think? And so there's so many aspects of it, and it's also a great career with good paying jobs where your success is very dependent on you, which I think is very exciting. So I think we have to tell the story better. I agree we want to attract more people. I know we're working, and there's a program on training technicians as well. Right. Another good paying job, and that's something I personally, my passion is education and also creating workforce, because not everyone wants to go to college. There's many, many important jobs now that you can earn a great living by. Is it an extension from high school? Is it a certification program? Is it a 2-year degree? And so we need to celebrate those opportunities and welcome those people into the workforce. So there's so much can be done, and I think it's something we can partner with NADA on.
Okay, great. So what would you tell yourself now if you were 21?
Well, I get this question a little bit different of, what's my advice to someone just starting their career? And I think, first of all, find something you're passionate about, something that you believe in, because and then, again, the simple but tried and true advice of my mother, work hard. And I think if you are passionate about something and you're willing to work hard, and then take those assignments when you get an opportunity, and you may be working in one area of the business or of the dealership, and you're saying, hey, you might be in sales, do you want to move to service? I always tell people, if you get a little uncomfortable feeling, your little churn in your stomach, that's probably a job you should take. Because the way you can, the more you learn and the breadth of experience that you have, I think it sets you up to continue to succeed. So those, take those little nudges and have confidence in yourself to continue to grow and learn.
So other than going to Disneyland, what do you do for fun? What's your hobby?
Well, I have one child just graduated from college and the other in college. And so up until about 2 years ago, my life was centered around working and going to children's sports activities. And so my husband won't let me go to the high school sporting events now because he said, Mary, we don't have a kid there anymore. So, we've stayed connected to our kids. We've been able to enjoy visiting them. A little bit of travel, but mostly dedicated to General Motors because it's a very important time of transition right now.
So your husband plays golf.
He does play golf.
But you don't play?
It's kind of an affront to the sport to say I play golf. It's really, I'm pretty horrible. So maybe someday, but right. I'm perfectly happy to ride the cart and just putt.
So what makes you laugh?
I think it's family. It's spending time with my family and broad family and friends. Fortunate to have a wide circle of friends, and it's just, those are the special times.
And what question should I have asked that I haven't asked you?
Well, I think, maybe a little bit more back to business about the opportunity for this industry. I think you pretty much covered that.
Okay, let's go back to business then.
Well, I think, for an industry right now, and we are in a wonderful time of transformation, and I always see, you can either see it as a threat or you can see it as opportunity. And I think we have a huge opportunity to transform the way people move and the way mobility happens, but to do it together. So I think we have to open our minds and look at things from a different lens of how can things change, how can we make it better. Again, very customer focused, and I think there's nothing we can't accomplish, and I think we can lead. And I'm talking to the GM team right now.
Well, I want to tell you thank you so much for being here. It's truly special for all of us, and we're so proud that you are our CEO, and we're here for you. So you just reach out to us, and like you said, it's all about relationships, and I truly believe that. In the more we know about you and the more we see you leading, we're right there with you every step of the way. So thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate it. And it's been wonderful to have this opportunity to spend with all of you. And thanks to our dealers. You truly are an asset and partners. So thanks for what you do every single day.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much, Charlie. And thank you, Ms. Barra, for being with us today. We are truly honored to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We hope you're ready to take on 2020. And as Rhett says, let's get out there and sell some cars. So till we see you next year in New Orleans, have a successful year.
Wow, it's been an amazing time here at the 2020 NADA show. We've learned, laughed, and loved Las Vegas with all the gas.